going on, guys? Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of being on steroids in a contest prep setting and if it's worth it. And before I get into this, I am not a doctor. I am basing this on my own experience and experience of others that I know. I'm going to pull in some other details. So I'm going to basically focus on experiences I've had myself. So for a contest prep setting, as in for bodybuilding or powerlifting or anything, but I'm going to use bodybuilding because that's the prep I'm currently in. Is it worth it? And the answer is very simple. It depends. So it's not simple at all. And we're going to go over the negatives and we're going to go over the positives. So number one negative this is for a guy, and then I'll talk about women a little bit at the end as well because it's a little bit easier to cover. As a guy, when you're taking high doses, it fucking sucks. I am just going to be completely honest with you. You're injecting yourself every single day. It overcomplicates things. It is another variable. It's kind of like taking your car and putting nitrous and turbos and supercharge the fucking thing and change the tires and changing everything. It's like, yeah, it might look cool, it might sound cool, but when you get under the hood and you try to work on the fucking thing, it's a disaster. So, and it's gonna blow up more and you're gonna have all kinds of these other issues associated with it, if that makes sense, but it will go faster. So that's kind of the same with steroids or your body. So number one, shitty thing, injecting every day. Fucking sucks. If you're a guy, you got to be running testosterone as base. And when you're using a lot of stuff, you can't just use orals. You shouldn't just use orals because it's so liver toxic. So that sucks. Number two, your fluctuations and your progress is going to no longer be linear. It's going to go something like this. And it's going to keep going up if you're doing things properly, but it is a mental nightmare because you're trying to control estrogen levels, prolactin levels. Your weight's going to increase due to taking certain shots, and you're like, I'm on a contest where my weight should be going like this, and it's going up and down and all over the fucking mat, and it's mentally exhausting. Then you add in the orals, and what do you have going on with the orals? Well, it's liver toxic is number one. Massively liver toxic. So on a contest prep setting, this can actually be beneficial in a way because it suppresses your appetite. A good way I would look at it is like being hungover all the time. Your appetite is just crash because you're literally poisoning your body. So your body's like, I don't want to process more things. I don't even want to eat my fucking egg whites for breakfast. So you eat your bowl of egg whites and you're like, oh my God, like I want to go lay down and have a nap. Like my body doesn't want to do more work. That's a negative. Decreased energy on prep. And I've prepped naturally. My last two shows, my first show I was 100% natural. Last show, I used testosterone for 4 weeks leading up to it. I don't even think, I was using such low dose, I don't even think the shit kicked in until the last couple of weeks. It was like basically natural. And I still had problems with water retention, all kinds of other bullshit on super low doses. So you really got to know what you're doing. Another negative, just feeling lethargic and tired and moody, and it's not just from food. I promise you it's because of the androgenicity, which I couldn't say yesterday in my video, androgenicity in the body. So that's important to keep in mind. Another negative, the cost. A guy, if you were running high dose anabolics, is expensive, really expensive. If you're just going to run a couple hundred milligrams of test a week, yeah, that's not overly expensive. But if you're running a lot of stuff, especially expensive orals, like maybe talking $500 a week at the top end at the end of a prep, if you're using a lot of shit, and it could be more than that, could be less. But for me, for 6 weeks, probably gonna, even just the first 6 weeks, probably like 12, 13, 1400 bucks. So that's a thing to keep in mind. Plus, you need to be taking other supplements to counteract some of these negative side effects. So you're probably at $2,000 of supplements for 6 to 8 weeks. If you don't have the resources available to be able to do that, that's definitely not something you should even consider. It's kind of like supercharging your car when you can't afford it. It's not fucking worth it. So keep that in mind as well. Some of the positives. Obviously, over the course of the 8 weeks, I am going to get significant results. Now, that being said, my body responds extremely well to anabolics. I notice things very, very quickly. You guys can probably see in the videos already in 2 weeks that I have made tremendous progress. And that's not the same for everybody. It's kind of a hit or miss. So I know what I'm doing in my body, and I know how I respond to certain things because I've been doing this for 6 years at this point. So obviously you're going to learn something unless you're a complete moron. So that being said, you also have to get your blood work done. Should be getting your blood work done every 4 months at the fucking minimum. In a contest prep, during contest, during prep, right after prep, 6 weeks after prep. You have to do that. If you're not doing that, you're just being naive, in my opinion, because you got to get that done. It's better to know. So if I am sitting at 4 weeks out and I go in and my liver enzymes are through the absolute roof and my blood pressure's fucked up and like kidneys are messed up and all this stuff, I can make an executive decision to not increase what I'm doing. That's valuable. And maybe even talk to my doctor and be like, okay, like my plan is to keep doing this for the next 4 weeks because I want to win. And they might be like, you're a fucking idiot, but at least you have the information available to be like, okay, maybe I'll pull back on oils. Maybe I'll switch something up. Maybe I'll take my anadrol that I'm taking as pill form every day, and maybe I'm going to inject that, even though that will suck even more. So you have to, like, at least you have the information to work with. You can do with it as you will, but at least have the information. So that's one thing. Organ imaging, all this other stuff you should be doing. You have to get that done. That can cost money. I'm in Canada. I'm fortunate that we have free healthcare. I'm not convinced with the amount of money I pay in taxes, it would be actually cheaper to just pay for my freaking healthcare. But you know what? I am grateful I am in Canada because of, if I didn't have free healthcare, I'd probably be dead because I had a pretty severe thing at birth where I was in the hospital for months, almost died, had several surgeries, died from hernia. So ultimately fortunate, keep paying my taxes, but fortunate in Canada now too, I can just go and pay to get blood work done and pay to get organ imaging and get that shit done when I need it. So that's a positive, but you got to get that stuff done if you're going to be on anabolics as well. So another variable. So let's talk about some of the good stuff. I feel phenomenal in the gym. That's it. If you want the truth, I feel great for my workouts. Fantastic. Take some orals pre-workout, take a shot of Tren. You feel fucking phenomenal for about 2 to 3 hours. And then you need to come home and have a nap. That is the truth. Everything else in your life suffers when you're on high dose stuff. And yeah, you can fake it for several weeks. I'm obviously faking it around people, but I'm being honest with them. Like, dude, like I can like put up with you for like 4 or 5 hours, maybe only an hour for certain people, and be like, I can do that. And then you got to go the fuck home. Or I have a girl over and I'm like, you can't stay here because I just cool, do whatever, but like you need to go because like I want to eat my food and I just want to go to bed and I don't want to be up late. So I'm just like being brutally honest, but it is another variable where when I was doing my other shows that were natural, yeah, I didn't have this problem. I was like excited to go live my fucking life, and it was just kind of like a different thing. Now granted, I have a different mentality now as well, and I feel like that's another factor that comes into play when you're on shit, is this mentality that you want to get the most out of your cycle. And I think that that is the right way of looking at it. I don't see the point of taking something to just not work hard. So if you have the ability to train for fucking 2 hours in the gym because you're on a bunch of shit, train for 2 hours in the gym. As long as you're not overtraining, you're able to recover. But on high dose shit, you are able to recover. So that is a positive, actually, for my opinion, but it's also a negative in your personal life. So you have to just see where your priorities lie and figure out what's more important to you, because your relationships, stuff like that, will suffer on this stuff. So I hope that covers most of it. The appetite suppression, the toxicity, the post-cycle therapies, all this shit is just another variable, and it's promise you it's frustrating and it's not worth it for most people. I promise you it's not worth it for most people. If I could go back in time, maybe like Greg just said, I'll be on HRT and I can time travel back in time. Would I choose to stay natural? I don't know. I can't do that. But I'll tell you what, I looked fucking good naturally. Really good. I was 165 pounds. I was benching 285. I was deadlifting over 400. I was like fucking lean, had abs, fucking decent sized arms. Like I looked good. Like I'll put a picture up right here, that shit. And yeah, I looked great. And no, like when it comes to women and stuff like that, if you don't want to compete, it's not worth it. Like I've had no more, I've never had a problem with women for the most part, fortunately. But like being bigger didn't change that. It actually probably made it worse, because now you just have a select few people that are like, you look like a fucking crazy person because like your arms are fucking massive or whatever. And that's cool. And some people are into that. But for the average woman would go after my natural physique over this physique, I would say. So it's for women, it's not worth it. You can build a phenomenal physique naturally. If you want to compete in bodybuilding or powerlifting at a high level, unfortunately, to do that naturally is really, really, really unlikely. That's just the reality of the situation. But you have to decide if that's really worth it. I've decided this year that it is worth it to me, because I had a bunch of other stuff going on. I need something to focus on again. And this is a healthier outlet than things I've had in the past. So I'm going to go all in. I am committed. I'm going to dedicate a year and just like rebuild this muscle. I'm going to be in the best shape I've ever been in my entire life. Probably the best physique I've ever had for this prep. But it's coming at a significant cost financially, emotionally, health-wise. And is it worth it to me? Yes. Yes, it is at this point. But it may not be worth it to everybody. So really consider what you're going to do. There's a lot of factors involved. And if you don't have the finances to do everything else surrounding it, or resources available to you, don't do it. Go to your doctor. Be brutally honest. I went to my doctor and was like, this is exactly what I'm doing. And it was like, oh, you sure you shouldn't be doing that? And I was like, yeah, I'm aware I probably shouldn't be doing it, but like, can you write me my blood racks? Can we review shit? Can you refer me to everybody I need to see? And he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And I was like, okay, appreciate it, man. So that's what I'm doing. You have to be honest, especially with your doctor. Your doctor's not going to tell anybody what you're doing. So that's what my recommendation would be. My recommendation is stay natural. If you want to compete, if you have a great physique and you want to compete in bodybuilding in a non-tested show, are you going to win naturally? I would try it first. Try it first naturally. I did it. And yeah, see where you can go with that. That's my recommendation. But ultimately, just adds another variable to everything. And the pros don't necessarily outweigh the negatives. So there's the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys soon.